This is the new BSA Gold Star 650. This has been launched in India by Classic Legends, the same brand which sells Java and SD motorcycles in India. It competes directly against the popular Royal Enfield Interceptor 650, and both of them have almost the same price tag. The hype around the new Gold Star is real, and ever since its launch, you guys have bombarded us with endless questions about it. So, we spent about 2 days riding the motorcycle in the city and on the highway only to answer all your questions about its engine performance, engine heating, braking, handling, comfort, fuel efficiency and the overall quality levels. So, let's get going. Before I move ahead with answering all your questions, here's a quick brief about the brand. Now, as rich as the history of BSA brand is, I'm not gonna bore you guys with recollecting everything. All the details are just one Google search away. What you need to know is that the British brand BSA made motorcycles for over 60 years before discontinuing operations in the early 1970s. Then in 2016, Classic Legends brought BSA brand and launched the first product under that banner, the Gold Star 650 in Europe in 2022. 2 years later, now in 2024, the Gold Star has finally arrived on the Indian shores. Now, let's progress with answering all your questions. We won't blame you if you have your doubts about the quality levels of the Gold Star. After all, Java and SD motorcycles had some quality issues in the initial phase of their debut. But I'm glad to report that's not the case with the Gold Star, and it feels upmarket and premium. There are no serious rough edges throughout the motorcycle. Everything feels very nicely put together, and even the paint finish is neat. Same for the switches, they feel very nice and tactile. And this motorcycle has done close to 1000 kilometers. Wow, 1000 exactly. And it has been ridden on almost all kinds of surfaces, good and bad. But we haven't heard any loosening or rattling noises so far. Kudos to that.
In fact, I really like some of the small details like the contrast stitching on the seat, the tiny British flag and the small logo with rifles on the side panel. All of it is quite interesting. It is equally likable on the design front if you have a taste for old school motorcycles. It is quintessentially retro with bare minimum body panels and a round design theme followed all across. Everywhere I went on the BSA, people gave it an admiring glance. This top-end Legacy Edition in particular, with its chrome elements, looks elegant.
At 782 mm, the seat height of the Gold Star 650 should be accessible for everyone. On the saddle, you are greeted by an upright and commanding riding position, something that feels very relaxed. You have a long fuel tank in front of you, which means the reach to the handlebar is a little far, but that only makes the riding position quite commanding. The foot pegs are center set and the seat is quite spacious, so even large size individuals won't feel the motorcycle cramped. However, the seat cushioning is quite thin, and that might pose a problem when you go over long distances in case you plan to tour on this motorcycle. Besides that, in the city or on your daily commutes, this won't pose any issues, provided your commute distance isn't too far.
The same can't be said for the suspension and ride quality. The telescopic forks and dual springs absorb minor imperfections decently well. However, take it over anything more rough, such as deeper potholes or sharp rumblers, and the suspension setup feels firm and unforgiving, especially the rear springs. Even on the highway, at speeds of close to 100 km/h, the ride feels busy almost all the time. It is never unbearable like the Super Meteor, but it's not very comfortable either.
With a curb weight of 201 kg, the Gold Star is actually a heavy motorcycle, and you feel that weight almost all the time. So be it taking it off the side stand or moving it in the parking lot or crawling in bumper to bumper traffic, the weight makes its presence felt almost all the time. Even on the move when you're switching lanes or going around corner at slightly higher speeds, you have to apply some pressure on the handlebar to get the bike to turn.
Although it is low on agility, the composure and stability while going around bends are acceptable. If you keep your inputs measured, the motorcycle tips in and carries on without doing anything scary or funny. Even on the highway at high speeds, the bike feels stable. What's even more commendable are the Brembo brakes, especially on the front, which deliver an abundance of bite and stops this 201 kg motorcycle quickly and easily. Plus, the ABS doesn't feel very intrusive and works flawlessly. And in case you're wondering, the ground clearance of 150 mm is low, but we never scrape the underbelly, not even while going over tallest of speed bumps. It could do with better tires though. While they feel decently grippy in the dry, the grip and feel drop significantly in the wet, robbing you of the confidence and demanding you to dial down your inputs to a great extent.
Let's talk about the main highlight of the Gold Star 650, the engine. Now this 652cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder motor has been sourced from the Austrian brand Rotax. And as impressive as it is on paper with an output of 45.6 bhp and 55 Newton meters, it is equally good in terms of oral experience. It is more throaty than bassy and lets out a very nice gurgle from about 3000 rpm. And believe me, it sounds much nicer from the saddle while riding the motorcycle than observing or listening to it as an onlooker. Let's give it a listen. What do you think about this exhaust sound? Let us know in the comment section.
The Gold Star is entertainingly quick. While the low-end acceleration is not great, things get interesting beyond 3000 rpm when the bike propels ahead vigorously. It delivers a strong pull almost until its red line of around 7000 rpm. Reaching 100 kmph is quick and easy, and overtaking from there feels effortless. Interestingly, the engine feels unstrained even at 120 kmph. Thanks to the good mid-range, it also feels tractable in the city and you don't need to work the gearbox too much. Speaking of the gearbox, the 5-speed transmission system is not very slick, but the cogs shift with a satisfying clunk and it never throws false neutrals. However, the clutch is on the heavier side and that causes some discomfort while riding in heavy traffic.
You wouldn't be wrong in thinking that a single-cylinder engine with a displacement of 650cc should be vibey. But the Gold Star 650 is a pleasant surprise in that regard. It's not completely devoid of vibrations, but they never escalate to bothersome levels. You start feeling minor buzz from 4000 rpm on the handlebar and on the seat, which mildly increase as you approach the red line. But they never reach the levels and don't stop you from enjoying the overall performance and feel of the engine. The vibrations are there, but just enough to make the bike very characterful.
Since the engine is a high-performance single-cylinder unit, overheating is a given. However, it takes being stuck in 10 to 15 minutes of crawling traffic for the heating to be noticeable and for the radiator fan to come on. And even when the fan activates, the heat doesn't get directed straight to your legs, thereby not causing any serious discomfort. We extracted a fuel efficiency of close to 21 kmpl from the Gold Star. Do note that this figure wasn't obtained by our usual way of mileage testing and the riding was quite aggressive, especially while shooting the motorcycle. If ridden more conservatively, the mileage should go up to 24 to 25 kmpl, which means a range of around 290 km from its 12-litre fuel tank. Before we move on to the verdict, let me take you through the features it gets. The dual-pod analog instrument cluster comes with a tiny LCD on each console to show you only the crucial information. It also incorporates a USB Type-C and a USB Type-A charging ports on the handlebar, a 12-volt socket close to the engine, a slipper clutch and dual-channel ABS all come as standard.
If you have a taste for modern classic motorcycles, the new BSA Gold Star 650 is very likable. It is one of the nicest retro motorcycles we have ridden in the recent past, and the star of the show is definitely that engine, which is quite high on performance, character and feel. When you're riding this bike at 80-90 kmph, when the revs hover around 3000 rpm in 5th gear, you instantly get in the zone and rhythm with that overall relaxed riding position and that deep gurgling exhaust sound. Plus, the brakes are very strong, the quality levels are impressive and the handling is decent. Besides the firm ride quality, for a modern classic motorcycle, the Gold Star is very nice. But what we are concerned about is how the Gold Star will fare in the long run in terms of reliability. Now, a lot of Java and SD owners keep complaining about issues with their motorcycles. We hope it won't be the same case with the Gold Star. Besides, the after-sale service of Classic Legends bikes haven't been the best until recent past, but the company says they have improved it. Also, we think the Gold Star should have been priced more affordably, especially to have an edge over its closest rival, the Interceptor 650. This one, the Legacy Edition, is priced at Rs 3.35 lakh ex-showroom and it starts from Rs 2.99 lakh. Had it been a little more affordable, the overall package would have been much more attractive.